Well, hello, meet Tina here. Welcome to my channel. Well, first of all, as always, I would like to thank everyone who's follow my channel. Really, I just have a big gratitude for each and every one of you who follow my channel. And if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe, click like, or simply just enjoy and share this video with anyone that you just feel kind of resonate with and can benefit from this video. So today I got Yania Aleman. Hello, Yania. We get her to talk about human design. And what is human design? She's going to be talking about, but quickly, I already have someone on here before I talk about human designs, Karen Katrika. You can check her out too in her videos. She's really good. But I always feel like sometimes it's great to have a different professionals, different expert to share the different perspective. And with that said, let's welcome Yania. She's going to be sharing us with the human design, and you got to stay and listen to what she has to say. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. I'm really happy to be here. Hi, everyone. Excited to be able to share and talk about my passion, which is human design, and how it's helped my life and how I know it can help yours.
Okay, well, first of all, how can it help and what is it exactly? Because, some people knew it already, but this is still, I know a lot of people who don't really know what it is, but I found it to be quite fascinating too.
So human design, to me, it's really the language, understanding the language of energy and understanding what your energy vehicle means. And we all have very unique energy blueprints. And once you have the knowledge and the understanding of what that means for you, then you're able to use this knowledge and this understanding in very practical ways that allows you to start manifesting in your life effortlessly, with alignment, with flow, because it's energy. So it's understanding that, and it's practical. It's just a strategy that you follow, and you experiment with it. So once you start experimenting with it and you start seeing how it manifests in your world and in your life and within your relationships, you see how empowering it can become in your life to have this knowledge and to have this knowing.
So I understand that with human design, you need to have like your date of birth, and you create the chart, some sort of chart, and
correct.
It kind of mixed with different technique also.
Yes, human design uses a variety of different techniques. I mean, it uses astrology, the I Ching, quantum physics. It uses a combination of different systems that comes together to explain our purpose in life and how we are designed, genetically designed to engage with life, and why we have certain things that are so unique to us and why we're all different. So it's known as the science of differentiation, because it's understanding what makes you unique or what makes you different and why that's important for you and fulfilling your life's purpose, and why it's so important to not try to always fit into boxes in terms of how we should or should not live our lives, because that can vary and shift and change by each individual or for each individual. So you do need your date of birth, the time you were born, and the place you were born to get your chart. And then your chart describes your energy centers, which stores your genes. And there is 9 energy centers in human design, very much like your chakras, but instead of 7, we have 9. And within these centers, you have your genes. And depending on the information of your birth and the time and the day and the place, certain genes are going to be activated in your chart and certain genes are not.
Okay. So from what I understand, there's 4 types of human designs out there?
There's 4 types, but a lot of people see it as 5, because even though in essence there's 4, there is a 5th type that falls under the generator type. So the generating energy is split into 2: pure generators and manifesting generators.
I see.
And now, so when I talk energy, one way I like my clients to understand, because a lot of people may, okay, what do you mean by energy? And it really means how your aura is communicating within the environment. So the aura is something you really can't see, right? But if we were to see it, there's a very specific way in which that aura is communicating with others and with the environment around it. And
Well,
that's what each energy type tries to explains, and what that means for you in a practical way, something that you can practically implement in your everyday life.
well, can you kind of give example for each one of them for the five, how each energy communicate with the outside world?
Correct. Yes.
Is there
So there,
Mhm.
let's look at let's talk a little bit about the 5 energy types. So we have 5 in total, right? The 2 that are considered generators are pure generators and manifesting generators. That takes up 70% of the population. So 70% of the population will fall under generating energy, either
Wow.
as a pure generator or as a manifesting generator. And those are considered energy types. And the reason being is because generators are literally generating their own energy,
Oh.
and not exactly. So their sacral, like in your chakra, is defined. And when that sacral is defined, that means that they have life force, they have access to life force energy all the time. It doesn't matter who they're with, it doesn't matter what's happening in the astral world. No matter what, they're going to have access to life force energy, or the energy to do work and to create. So they're called energy beings or energy types. And the way that this aura communicates, it extends out into the environment about 6 feet, and it wraps around everything it sees. It's very warm and welcoming with the other, with others in its environment, and it's bringing to the generator things that they need to be noticing, things that they need to be responding to. That's why for the generator is so important for them to be aware of their present now, their present moment, because it's always showing them or giving them something to respond to, so that that sacral is able to create and do work based on that response. The other 3 types are projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. And they are considered non-energy types. And the reason is, it's not that we don't have energy, is that we don't create our own life force energy. We don't have a defined sacral, so we don't have access to it at all times. Only when it's being activated through planetary orbits, or by being next to or in the vicinity of another generator. So, but it's not something that we have on our own.
Okay.
So projectors make up 20% of the population, and our aura, I'm a projector, communicates very, very differently. Our aura is piercing and absorbing. So we actually are able to pierce or penetrate the other person, and have this sense of knowing. Due to that, we are considered the guides, right? We're here to have this inner understanding of a system, of knowing how to improve things in life. And our strategy, because we are penetrating to the other and we're absorbing that, we really need to be very aware that our strategy is all about recognition and invitation. Are we being invited, recognized into the activity, into the conversation, into the opportunity? And that's in a little overview of the projector energy. And then the manifestor energy, their aura is actually very closed and repelling, because they tended to be have a very protective energy. And that is because they are here to take actions. They are only 9% of the population, but it's truly how the rest of us have been conditioned to behave and to act in life, unfortunately, like manifestors. But they're the only type that truly were designed, energetically speaking, to make things happen based on an urge. When they get this inspired urge, they are meant to take action on that. There's nothing they have to wait for. There's no invitation or response that they need to be aware of. They're truly here to take action on those ideas, on those urges, and bring them into form, just bring them into the reality space for the rest of us to then have to then guide or create. So because they're here to take that kind of action, their aura is very protective, and they only allow those that they choose to allow in. And then the reflector energy is 1% of the population, and they have a sampling aura. None of their centers have definition, meaning they're completely open to the environment and to others. And
Wow.
their aura tends to sample because they're here to truly just grasp the state of the environment. And their strategy is to wait a 28-day lunar cycle before they can have a true understanding of what's aligned for them or not.
Well, since you said that there's only 1%, that's very small.
It's very rare.
Have you come across anyone who's a reflector with that?
Two. I've known two. One that I don't know personally, but I met, and then a very close friend of mine is a reflector.
Really? Can you tell that? I mean, the reflector. Can you tell that they are the reflector before you found out about their chart?
Actually, I did not. And then after the fact, I was like, oh my God, that makes a lot of sense. Because she happens to be someone who's very calm and goes with the flow as she speaks like this. She's very, like, when I realized she was a reflector and the environment really affects her, like when things around her are not like healthy, she reflects that in herself, like she becomes unhealthy. And it's very interesting to observe, but they actually tend to be very mellow, easygoing people, because they're kind of just flowing through life and just feeling out their environment. The environment is everything to them. The environment and how they feel within an environment is very powerful for their ability to manifest.
So knowing what you know, you an expert in this, can you pinpoint which person is what energy is they're at? Can you tell them by talking to them, getting to know them without looking at the chart? Can you be able to tell that? Do they have a specific? Yeah.
Yes, I could definitely already, like, I there's some, not, I'm not going to say I'm correct 100%.
Like a trait that you can tell.
Yes.
For example, when you first talked to me, could you tell right away what is my human design? Things like that, even before I share with you or you look at my chart.
Well, I would have to share and interact with you a little bit. It's not something that you can physically see. Like, you can't see the aura unless you're those people that can actually see how aura is communicating. But definitely in terms of behaviors, I and especially in children, see, what happens to us as adults is that we are already very conditioned.
Yeah.
So that conditioning really brings almost like a shadow where we can't truly see our true selves, because we're trying to live through the lens of what our beliefs are, or societal norms, or our upbringing. And it kind of hides and shields our true essence. But I have noticed that in children, it's so easy to realize, to figure out their energy type.
Cool. Like, so would you be able to share each one in children? Because I think that'd be so cool for the parents to kind of figure out what their children's human designs are, because if they know that, if they will be able to just not allow, well, it's kind of hard when you live in a society like that with all this conditioning that's put layers on all the children's, and then they become who they're not really truly are. But if the parents know that and be able to kind of support their human designs and be able to for them to express that energy out, I think that'd be so cool.
Oh, so, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. So can you share like what each type, what is the trait that each children that you noticed? What are their character, personality like? Yeah, that you can spot.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a generator son and a projector daughter. And for the generators, it's very like when they're kids, they speak with the whole thing about a generator's truth is their sacral sounds. So when their aura is wrapping around and bringing things into their existence for them to notice, whether that is an actual tangible invitation or something that they see that catches their attention or a sign or anything, the sacral will automatically have an instinctual yes or no, like a uh-huh or uh-uh or mm. So they speak with sacral sounds. Generators are all about their sacral sounds and connect, and how their body is physically responding to that, to whatever is being presented to them. So my son, and a lot of the kids that I've worked with, it's their ability to just, everything is through uh-huh, mm-mm. And I remember before even having knowing human design, when they were little, when they were younger, I would get upset with him. I'd be like, use your words. Like, what do you mean because almost in my culture that's rude, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't tell mom like, you speak up, right? And I did some, at some level, not, I mean, not on purpose, obviously, with, I didn't have the knowing. That's why, like, you're absolutely right. It's so amazing if parents had this tool and understood their children at this energetic level, because they can really prevent that conditioning to happen, and honoring that sacral response. Like when I said, do you love mama? And he goes, uh-huh. That is the most incredible yes he could give me. That is his truth, right? I don't need him to say, yes, mommy, I love you, like, that is his truth. They understand things through yes or no or maybes, through those sacral sounds. I also
Mm.
look at their body language. Is this something that he's moving towards, that he's excited about, or is it something that he's resisting or crunching, like, or it's not expanding him, it's constricting him. um so when we start observing that, we really get it, you really know how each child is responding. Whereas my daughter, as a projector, it's not about her sacral, but it's about recognition. It's about us noticing her. It's about us allowing her to speak her mind and what she wants to share, and inviting her into those conversations. And these are the kids that, when they're young, they want to be with the adults, and they constantly have an opinion, and they want to share that opinion. And you see that they thrive on recognition, because that is the projector aura. We thrive on being recognized, on appreciation, on on people valuing what we bring to the table. So for projectors, when you see that the child is always trying to share and speak, um it's usually a projector who needs to learn that sharing needs to come through invitation, right? But is that they're so open to wanting to give away their understanding of life, to know it. That is the child that has already been conditioned. And then you have the ones that really don't speak or are quiet, right? And yet we push them to speak, or and but that was innately, they understand that it's not time for them to speak, and life teaches them otherwise, that they need to have a voice, and they need to always say what they think. Well, not necessarily. As a projector, is that always correct? Now, that doesn't mean that we can't speak, or we can't share, or we can't live our passions out. On the contrary, it is all about living our passions and doing what we love, because that's preparing us for the invitations and the recognition that's coming. But it's knowing that not everyone is ready to hear our knowing, and not everyone is ready to see the perspective that we bring for them to the table. So it's all about respecting that and knowing that the time will come. So if you're not being invited, it's not personal. It's not because you're not your opinion or your information isn't valuable. It's just that person's not ready to hear it yet. um
Mm.
and that was a big one for me, as a projector. And projector energy is the most conditioned energy type of all five. And at first it was really difficult for me to come to terms with what it meant to be a projector and what I had been doing up until that point in my life, and why the things that had happened. And then beginning that process of deconditioning and unlearning all these bad habits I had adopted for myself, thinking they would serve me, when in reality they weren't serving me at all.
Wow. So it's funny because you mentioned that projector need to speak or need to share. Do you find that most projector are like having to speak or having to share or having to be out there in communication, speaking and sharing?
Well, the projected child, you'll notice they do like to share and speak. They have this, they're the eternal learners. You see that they're always wanting to know and understand. See, projectors are here to know the other. They're here to know the other people around them. Whereas generators and manifestors are really here to know themselves, right? Or to better understand themselves. So projectors will always have an interest in the other. So this is the kid that will always have an interest in the other. The other matters, because it's part of our nature.
That makes sense so much.
Yes.
And about the conditioning makes sense because I'm a projector as well. And I have been conditioned not to speak in my culture growing up. So
Right.
I have to grow up trying to speak up or trying to not be embarrassed to speak. So imagine me doing this YouTube here, speaking to the
Yes.
world. And that's a big step because I wouldn't be doing this hadn't been my COVID pneumonia that I got a couple of years ago. Then when I almost died, I realized I have to be true, authentic self. But I was kind of guided to kind of do this. So it's kind of funny you said the most conditioned, and well, I'm not saying that all projector are being, I'm sure there's other type that being conditioned too, because there's a lot of in the whole culture of Asian culture. Now,
there's conditioning across the board, but
exactly
projector is the most conditioned.
And you're right about that, about knowing the others and have the best interest in others.
Yes.
So that's totally makes sense because I'm always trying to help and share information with others as well. Now, what about the other three types in the children? What are their characters?
So the manifestor child is very easy to point out. The manifestor child, the pure manifestor, the 9%, they're usually the ones that are the rebels. They are the ones that just go do things without asking for permission. They have no fear. Actually, they say that when parents have manifested children, they feel that aura. They feel and they want to overprotect them. And they really end up limiting them, because that's why they have a protective aura, so that they can go and take actions. Like my dad's a manifester, and when he was 3 years old, he just walked out the door in diapers and went to the park because he wanted to see the animals at the park across the street. Like they just do. These are the kids that just go. They don't ask. They just go. They just leave everybody else behind. They're explorers. They just want to know and understand everything and everyone, and they follow that urge. So they can be the kids that get into trouble little.
Rebels a good way to describe them. Yeah.
Yes, they can be the rebels, or if they're conditioned, they can be the people pleasers, which is really bad place for manifestors to be, right? Where they stop themselves from fulfilling those urges out of that fear that something bad's going to happen, or XYZ, and then they people please. They don't really do what they are here to do, which is to take actions on those urges. And reflectors tend to be kids that learn how to, like, you can see that they kind of morph into the environment. So like maybe it's the child that suddenly is depressed and you don't know why, and then look at what's happening around them. They're just taking in that environment completely. They can be very, very they can be sensitive to the moon, to like the planetary phases. They do a lot of ups and downs.
Would you say emotional? Can it get too ultra sensitive or emotional
I
as
would
a
say
child?
they become more sensitive to the environment, and then of course because they're all open. If there's an emotional, if they're in an emotional an environment where there's something that's an intense emotional situation, they're going to take that energy in and amplify it.
Are
Now
they, would you consider them as being very intuitive or psychic kids?
very, very intuitive. Yes, they could be very, very intuitive.
Okay. And then the last one, the manifesting generator.
So the manifesting generators, a lot like the generators, they also speak with that sacral sound. But these kids are also, they can be described as the kids that are ADD or ADHD, because they are the kids that want to do it all. They get interested in a lot of different things. So these are the kids that start all these, maybe start this sport, and now they like drawing, and they might not necessarily see it through to the end, but they're interested in a lot of different things. They really want to tap into all those different areas that they are passionate about. They're multitaskers. They can do more than one thing at once. They might be all over the place. It's really hard for them to stay seated in a traditional classroom, for example, where they have to sit down and listen to the teacher for 8 hours a day. That type of setting doesn't really fit in with them. They're always on the go. They're always 10 steps ahead. They have they're a hybrid between the generator and the manifester. So you'll see that need to initiate as well, to take actions, but they're taking those actions through that response, right? They have to see it within their environment, and they're here to color outside the lines. They're the kids that color outside the lines.
I see. So listen to what you just said about these children, that we can spot them right away as a young child. And of course, most children are being conditioned by the society. So as they grow up nowadays, you see a lot of millennials and even, younger generation are going through a lot of difficulty, especially in this society. Yes. And would you highly recommend parents to have human designs on their children? And how would that benefit them?
Absolutely. I think I was a teacher for 14 years. I'm still a teacher forever. And I really do think that this needs to be part of a curriculum, and definitely something if parents had knowledge of from the moment their child was born, it would really give them such insightful information. It made such a difference for me as a parent once I understood my child's design. And it could, I wish I would have known it sooner and earlier, because I can see where I helped create certain things in my children because I didn't understand them energetically. Right?
Well, it's interesting because earlier you talk about ADD in one manifesting generator. So oftentimes the parents would think this is, the kids have problem, and then take them. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some sort of hormones imbalance there. I'm not sure for the kids, but I just see so many kids on a lot of drugs and medications for their too upbeat personality, too hyper personality, but they could be because that's their human design.
That's just their personality. That's just energetically how they're engaging.
And so now with the human design, would it tell how to deal with this kid so they don't be so?
Correct. Yes. Right. So once you understand what human design does, it helps. It's very practical because, like I said, it's information that now you gain, and now there's tools and strategies that you can implement as a parent, and you can start teaching your child about themselves so that they become true to themselves, and they don't try to change it or see it as it's something wrong with them or there's something bad about them. On the contrary, it's helping them understand how the universe, God, whatever it is you believe in, because it doesn't matter what we name it, is here to support them through their energetic exchange. And everything in life is energy. Like energy is everything. We are energy.
Like we totally understand, now that we're adults, and we totally understand that our childhood has been suppressed a lot because the parents didn't understand who we are. and they'll tell you not to do certain thing. Like for instance, myself as a projector, it took me a long time to be able to speak or express myself. So it's funny that you brought up about being able to speak and express, because I grew up, that not it's not right, it's not proper to say it. Don't say it when adults talking. You see that? So it's kind of suppressed my personality as a projector. But it's funny, deep inside me, I knew I had to speak out, and I trying to like cut in front of people and speak. It's kind of imbalanced, in the beginning, but it was a difficult journey to really look at me. I'm speaking in front of YouTube, in front of the whole world here. Hello, guys. That's a long journey until I hit 50 to be able to like see myself. That's what I need to do. So having a parent, hey, you guys, parents out there, listen to this. This is so important, such important for your kid. Get Yania to do your kid's chart, human design. That's important to me because I think the parents can understand their kids well, like you said, and really encourage them to be who they are and to be their authentic self, so they didn't have to struggle through all this year following the society. Hey, you got to learn this, you got to do this, you got to do this, when it's not truly in their nature, to their real energy, real authentic self, and they feel against it, and that's why they didn't go what the society or parents tell them what to do, right? So
Correct.
so Yania, at what age did you recommend the parents to start creating this human design for them?
As soon as possible. I mean, I don't think the sooner you do it, the better. Because you'll then start to be able, once you have the information, and even if you have a newborn, you'll start to see that energy, that design in them, and you'll be able to honor it and respect it and nurture it so that they can continue to live according to their authentic self versus trying to become something that they're not. I feel that this, if you can do it before you even have your kid, if you already know what day they were going to be born, but once the child's born, you can really start using this from the beginning. Because
So
even now, because I did it later on,
yeah,
I find myself having to, it's harder for me now because my kids have already been conditioned at some level, right? Not just through me, but through life. And because I didn't have this knowledge from the beginning, I can see where there are the areas where I wasn't able to guide them properly. Now, the fact that I know it now, I can help correct those things, or I can take accountability for those things as a parent and have conversations with them, and strategies and tools on how they can tap into themselves and truly live from authenticity. And even for me, I mess up all the time. I mean, because I'm conditioned too, and I'm going through my own process of deconditioning.
yeah,
So it's like catching myself when I don't honor my son's sacral sounds, right? And it becomes just this journey of self-awareness and collaborating with them. And we'll listen, they're not always crazy about it, but I'll listen to podcasts with them, so and look, so that they can hear it from someone else, not just mom, but just bringing in this knowledge and this understanding into their world so that they can create and they can live their life purpose
straight line,
with
really. They can live
that.
straight line. They can live like straight path, the straight line to their destiny,
Right.
to their path, to who they are, instead of having, it's a shortcut for your
It is.
kids.
It's really how we're meant to be living life. The problem is when we go against our energy, the universe can't. The law of attraction says, "Well, your energy, so I can only give you what you give me," right?
Oh my God, you just say something amazing, because a law of attraction, if they really become who their authentic self, they're really going to attract that if they go straight line.
Oh, this is to me, human design finally allowed me to understand the law of attraction. I understood it, but
Exactly.
I didn't deeply live it the way that I live it now, because now I understand exactly what that means. And the difference between, at the end, you're going to learn the lesson, but how do you want to learn that lesson? Do you want to go through a lot of struggle, challenge, or do you want to get there effortlessly, right? and living your signature. So each type is here to live a certain, what they call the signature theme.
Right.
Or it's what we're here, what our soul or our aura really wants to experience, right? Or is here to experience. And for the generator, that's satisfaction, right? For the generating energy, it's all about committing to people and things and opportunities that bring you that satisfaction. So that sacral sound, that or that has no thought, has no mind, it's coming literally from the gut through response, is saying, yes, I have the energy, I have the ability to create energy to do this activity and gain satisfaction from it. Or
Right.
no, I have the energy because I'm an energy being and I'm going to do this activity, but I'm going to gain frustration, which is the opposite of satisfaction, right? And it's the theme or the behavior or the emotion that our body is designed as a generator to feel, to let us know we're out of alignment. Oh, you're frustrated. You're
This
out of
awesome
alignment.
because if you see your children start to feel that, then you know that your kids are off alignment, off the energy path. So as a parent, they can actually like bring them back into the center. So they stay in balance all the time throughout their adulthood and growing up. I think this, wow, this is absolutely amazing, Yania.
Correct. And then let me give you the example of the projector.
Yeah.
The projector signature theme, what we're here to experience is success. But see, our success is not like, no, I'm not talking like I'm going to make money. That's not what we're talking about, even though that is a part of it too, right? But the success that we feel when we help another, the satisfaction, and that's like in our ability to help others, we gain this success, and the universe all of a sudden is able to support us because we are here to be supported, right? So when we are out of alignment, what we feel or the way the projector body shows us, hey, we are off, is bitterness. Yes. We feel this bitterness. We feel inferior. We're not good enough. Why isn't anyone listening? Why aren't they hearing me? It's this sense of just, and if you're an energy projector, because I'm saying we're going on a very general discussion here, but if you're an energy projector, meaning you have energy centers defined and you're pulling in that energy from others, you can become like a super generator and get burned out and live completely out of alignment with who you are, and feel this deep sense of bitterness. So when you see your child project, your child bitter or feeling inferior or feeling not good enough, you know, oh, something's off. He's out of alignment. For the manifester child is anger. Okay, so the not self theme is anger. Their body's going to show up to them with this emotion of anger to show. That's
why you see so many children reacting differently.
They're acting different, correct.
Right.
Yes. And for them, they're the opposite, their signature, what they're here to experience is peace, pure peace. So the manifesting generator child, you're going to see both anger and frustration. And you can see that so much in children that are labeled, because so many of them are being labeled incorrectly, ADD or ADHD. And what are these kids demonstrating? Anger and frustration in classrooms.
You're right. And then they give them medication prescription.
Correct.
And that's actually not good for their health, as a young age at all. So instead of going into that route, taking them to doctors, try this first, guys. Try to get human design, trying to do it holistically for it's actually going to benefit yourself to really understand yourself more and your children's more. Because I think what you do, you also will guide parents through stages of growing up of the children as well, right? When you offer this service to your clients, to the parents, I would say, specifically.
It's so empowering. It's such empowered. For me, that's like my word for human design.
It's to understand them, to understand kids, you know, and to really let them be who they are, encouraging them to go into direction they're supposed or meant to be with the signature in their life.
And how empowering is that? Like as a parent,
it's beautiful.
How empowering is that to be able to provide that for yourself and your children,
and
for them? How empowering for them to have this understanding and to know how to navigate life from their truth and not always looking outside of themselves for validation. See, we are conditioned to look outside of ourselves for validation all the time. We think something else is going to solve the problem for us, whether that's a pill, a doctor, a friend.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, things are going to only make it worse because they're coming from outside our truth. So
and they will never understand their children.
And it becomes a vicious cycle.
Exactly. This is so empowering, Yania, because what you just said, it's empowerment to both parents and the children as well.
Yes.
You know, because it's healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy psychology for both.
Yes.
You know, because we want to, you know, oftentimes the parents always said, you know, ask themselves question. I mean, with this society now, how can I best raise my kids the best way, the healthiest way, the happiest with the love, you know? And this is one of the paths that I can see, Yania, that parents can actually get involved. You know, get someone like you, Yania, who's an expert in this, who have children yourself, who already have experience in observing different personality, be able to help people like that. You're doing a wonderful job here to the world, Yania, where working with the kids, get the shot done, you know, human design for your children, and really work with that, because it's more like this is beautiful empowerment.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Wow. Powerful talk. Yania.
Thank you.
Yes, this is powerful talk because you have a direct experience. You're an expert in that direct experience with the children. I know a lot of parents, yourself out there who's watching this video, would love, I mean, this human design may be new to you. You listen to Yania, you're like, okay, this is sound quite interesting right now, right? Because not a lot of people heard about human design. I mean, I just barely heard about just beginning of this year when I into another lady who's also amazing too. You can have to watch her video as well. But see, coming from a different perspective, it's amazing that to hear from you like this, because I feel so empowered when I heard this. I go, oh my God, that would be awesome for the parents to totally understand their kids and not taking them to the doctor, psychologist, labeling them. How, you know how horrible it is to be labeled as, oh, you're different, you got ADD all the time. But instead, you can come to a professional like you.
There's so many. The human design will give parents so much information as to how to deal and guide their children, and parent. And
parents will learn too as you give them this chart, explain to the parents what they are, what they like, of course.
Yeah, and how you're relating depending on your energy type with your child. And
you will look at the parents' human design too, correct?
Of course, because what you do is you want to understand who you are as well, and how you're relating, and how being in the aura of your child is affecting each other. In terms of energy.
That's beautiful. I didn't think about that.
Yes.
So this is actually a wonderful two-way street that you offer to parents and children.
Correct.
My God. Last advice, Yania. You actually share something quite amazing in this video, because you know I'm always about like our society can change so much. It's starting from childhood. Childhood is very important, you know.
Yes.
And how can we go about changing that? And I can totally see that now at this moment, that this can actually help so much with the relationship between kids and the parents, and really raising your children. The best you can, you can do it. It's also, this is very, very nice way to do it, very healthy way to do it. And you can have a better relationship connection with your children as well. Absolutely beautiful, Yania.
Yes, 100%.
last advice or any tips that you wanted to give to the audience, Yania, because you're actually bringing something quite powerful here. I love that. Yes.
No, I advise people just to be open, to becoming more self-aware of ourselves. Like, to me, the human design was something, when I encountered it for the first time, everything connected. It was, it just connected the dots for me. I was always spiritual, and I always, wanted to better myself, but this gave me something so practical.
Yeah.
So this is a system that, if you're open to it, it will give you such valuable information that you can use practically in your life. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about an experiment, and it's about really experimenting with the information. And you can be a projector, but every single session I've had with various projectors have been different,
Yeah.
because there's no, just because you're the same energy type, you have so much more to your chart that's defining you. And when you look into those details, which is what happens when you have a reading, you're gonna gain, and you're gonna have so much resonance. It's about, oh wow, this makes sense now. It's about the aha moments. It's about, oh no wonder, and that's what happened to me. I was like, oh yes, that's why. So I stopped thinking there was something wrong with me, or thinking that I was XYZ. No, this is my design. And once I began to honor that, suddenly everything started to shift around me in a beautiful, almost magical way. So my tip is, be open to it. Be open to a new way of perceiving yourself and perceiving the world around you, and how you interact and how you communicate with it.
Bravo. It's beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, wow, that was a great session here. I love it. Anything that has to do with like helping children and parents, changing the world here is all about coming from the children. And I love that for what you brought onto the table today. If you like this video, please share Yania's video with your social media, with your friends who have children. This would be great. Doesn't matter, what age the children are. It's never too late to start. Subscribe if you haven't done that. Click like if you haven't done that, please. That would help me so much, and I appreciate that so much. Yania information, you got Instagram, you got social media, you got website, all listed under description here, guys. Connect with her. She can do your chart, especially all those parents out there and all your kids as well. So absolutely important. You can help your kids so much. And also look under, all those products that I highly recommended, I personally use for all your anti-aging skincare. And some of my affiliate links, check it out at the bottom of this description. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching and following my channel. I really appreciate that. Yania, thank you so much for God give you time here and just share this absolutely beautiful information about how human design can help your children and the parents to raising your kids the best way you can. This is the most healthiest way I can see. Thank you
so much, Gina, for having me, and for having me on your channel, and for
and
being for opening up this opportunity to share, and to, in ways that are helping us evolve and move forward. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You just empowered me by what you just shared today. Just amazing, because before we talk, we didn't know what we are going to talk about. Just kind of, well, we know we're going to talk about human design, but I always let the upstairs control our conversation.
That's
whatever I always set my intention, whatever is best for the audience to listen, that's going to benefit to them, that's going to be really good for them in every way. Bring on. That's it. Guide us, guide me, guide people who I interview to that talk. And that's it. Just go with the flow with that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Gina.
Love and hug to you. Virtual hugs to everyone, guys.
Virtual hugs.
Thank you. Yes, that's right. Bye.